Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome along. It's X1 here tonight. It is the main event here of ExA Racing League, and we've got some quality on this grid tonight. It's the start of a brand new era, and you can see already the first few laps have been put in by some huge names. Dan van Rooyen sitting on top at the moment with a 25.6. Kian Godendorp in second with a 25.7. And you've got Luca Rapassa, Liam Stevens, Sixten Linhart. We've got some incredible drivers. And Tim Tornemo's here as well. But to bring you through the action tonight, you've got myself, Cockcass, a.k.a. Joseph Black. And alongside me is Rio Harris. Good evening, Rio. How excited are we for this upcoming Bahrain Grand Prix?
I am ready, I am excited, I am ready to watch Luca Rapassa's title defence after he won last season by, I believe, 3 milliseconds.
That is incredible stuff. And that's the sort of margins that we hope to see. Obviously, his title contender, title rival, is not going to be competing this season. But we've got some new names to the fore, the likes of Kian Godendorp, Danny van Rooyen, as I've already mentioned, Nelson Alves down there, Tope and Race Imtiaz. Those last two, I believe, are going to be doing last to first challenges because they both retired from the session. But yeah, some quality here tonight. And we should be seeing some pretty decent action. We have cut in midway through qualifying, and the first few push laps have been completed. The top 10 have gone in there with lap times ranging from mid-25s to mid-26s. The next driver who will set a lap time is TF10's Thomas Laminen in the Williams. And he will try to get into the 25s. I reckon we'll be seeing, despite the fact that the fastest lap at the moment is a 25.6, I reckon we'll be seeing a 24 here tonight is my prediction. And I said that before the stream and Rio laughed at me. So I'm hoping that we will be seeing times in that sort of range. Thomas Laminen across the line, 26.2. In goes Marcel Biega, 26.0. So they're all around the low 8. What sort of time are you thinking then?
I was just thinking low 25s, like 25.1, 25.2. So yeah, I don't think it'd be a lap of the weekend for getting to the 24s.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Tim Tornemo up to the line. He's gone with a 26.9, and that is the slowest lap time so far. To those of you in the chat talking about the nice stream, I hope it's all up and working now. I know that it was the stream starting soon screen for a long time, and that's because we got well and truly EA'd. As I would like to refer to it as. I got stuck outside of the lobby and then inside of the lobby and then back outside of the lobby again. But we're getting going. We've got less than 10 minutes left in the qualifying session, and we've got times coming down. Kian Godendorp improving in the first sector, but very, very minorly. We'll see where he goes as he's 2 corners away from the second sector split time. The RB coming up to the line now. It's going to be an improvement by under a 10th. So Kian Godendorp here could be on for a lap time. That will be provisional pole position. Danny van Rooyen is on an out lap. Thomas Laminen is in the pit. And everybody else, apart from Louis Welch, who's also coming to the pits, everybody else is on a push lap or at least preparing for one. Kian Godendorp will dive into the pits. He's not happy with that lap. And so he will get ready to fight another day. Liam Stevens goes in there, 25.7, and he jumps up into third place.
I was just watching Jacob Stroh be improved by 2.5 tenths. I couldn't see if he invalidated his lap time or not. I couldn't actually see the lap time, so I don't know if he did improve, if that did count or not, but we got a V-carb of Jacob from the corner. He's coming into the pit lane as well, and I think that'll be everyone now into the pit lanes, unless Sam, is he starting a lap? No, he ain't got any battery left. So I think that is everyone completed their second runs. But we have Danny van Rooyen, who is on provisional pole with a 25.6, coming out a little bit later than compared to others for his second run, potentially his final run, who knows. But as I do want to go through before we watch some laps, We've got 5 reserves in. We've got Thomas Laminham in the Williams, Tom Roberts in the Ferrari, Louis Welch in the Alpine, Lucas in the Aston Martin, and Sam Arling in the Haas.
Yeah, we've got some decent times put in. I think 24 might have been a little bit ambitious, but maybe I just got excited by a few of the names. You never know, though, with the tyre degradation and with the track degradation as well, what sort of time we're going to end up with. Sam Arling will come up to the second sector split time. We'll see what he does. At the moment, he's sitting on a 26.3, which is good enough for P15, almost P14. The margin is 0.004 seconds, which is how close this sort of level is. Sam Arling is not improving on his lap, and I'm presuming he's getting ready for another one. Jacob Strode was a quarter of a second up, and he's not happy with that, so he comes in again, and he will be preparing once again for that lap. Van Ruyten not improving in the first sector. He is 0.03 seconds down, but the second sector split will beckon in a couple of corners. Is going to put himself. It's currently Mercedes 1-2, an incredibly strong lineup. The two Dutch boys, Luca Rapassa and Danny Van Ruyten, both of Veloce Academy and both of Mercedes. 100th of a second. One more braking zone to go then for Danny Van Ruyten to see if he can put in an even faster lap than what he set already. And he comes around the final corner, but big kick on the exit, and that will not be an improvement. It's not only an invalidation, but a huge loss of time around the final corner. And Van Ruyten will prepare again. Looking down, Thomas Laminham, the only man on a lap. Everybody else preparing for another one.
So yeah, we have a lot of drivers now on outlaps again, which is kind of my surprise. I thought they would wait till around the 3-minute mark. So I'm just trying to see who will be the first man to set their next lap time. I think it will be Louis Welch in the Alpine car, as he comes up to one of the best overtaking spots on the racetrack. Comes up to turn 4, gets nicely on the power there, using battery towards turn number 6, 500s down his lap, goes a bit deeper, and that's going to be his lap completely ruined. So mainly our next attention will then focus to the next driver behind him on the lap, Lucas Besnier. I probably butchered that. As he comes now towards turn 9 and turn 10. One of the probably the most trickiest corner on this track to get right, especially in the F2 cars. And now we make our way, powering down the straight towards turn number 11. Hit the apex nicely, get on the power very nicely. You've got a lot of battery, over half of the battery pack to use into the final sector. Using that curb on the inside nicely, 200ths of a second up, improving on his current 26.2. Down the back straight we go now with Lucas in the Aston Martin. Where will he jump up any positions, or will he decide to abort this lap and go for one more? Round the final corner we go towards the line with Lucas in the Aston Martin crossing the line to go up to P9 with a 10th of a second improvement. Next up is Nelson, who comes into the pit lane. Same with Marcel Viega and with the Mercedes behind. Next up, I think, will be Chris in the Red Bull crossing the line. Goes up to P10 with a 26.1. Then it's the V-Cub of Rishan, who goes up to P5. Then it's the Alpine crossing the line of Tim Tornero. Goes only P17. Then it'll be the Sauber of Sixten crossing the line. And he jumps up to P6 with a 25.8. And that is the run done for the moment. But we have Thomas Lang, who has only got a 26.8 at the moment, who is not improving on his current lap, I believe. He's very slow on his lap. He hasn't even got a front wing, so he must have a crash on this moment. There is gravel dust on his car. So he comes to the pit lane to get that nose changed, and hopefully have time to go out for one more lap. If I'm not wrong, Thomas has come around the final corner. He's going to come into the pit lane, not improving on his current time. Is there anyone else who is on the lap? Louis Welch, is he on the lap? Not a lot of battery left. 300ths of a second down. As we come down the straight towards turn 14 and 15. Can Louis Welch in the Alpine improve his position? 26.1 as it stands a minute. 1 millisecond behind Chris in the Red Bull. Out the final corner we go now. Using battery up to the line, he's going to decide to pit instead. And then we have Liam Stevens, who also comes into the pit lane. Got Luca Rapassa, the reigning world champion, who also comes into the pit lane as well. Lucas as well, I believe, will be coming into the pits. Yes, he will. Then we have the two Red Bulls. Jacob Strobe, more importantly, he comes into the pit lane as well. Then we have the other Alpine of Tim Tornado, who's also coming into the pit lane. Sam Arling has also invalidated his lap. And Sixton, is he on a lap at the moment? No, he's not. He's invalidated as well. And Ben Marple, he is not on a lap as well. So everyone coming into the pit lane. But our first lap for the final runs will be from reserve driver Tom Roberts, who's racing for Scuderia Ferrari this week.
Sorry, I'm trying to sort out my problems. But with 1 minute 58 left in the session, it is the two Mercedes sitting 1 and 2 right at the top of the standings. But, I mean, it could be anybody's game here. The margins are so tight. The top four with 25-6 and 25-7. Ben Marples actually retires from the qualifying session in the pit lane, and he will be probably dropping down quite a considerable margin if they are able to get laps in. I'm sure they will be able to, or at least they will attempt to. We've got 1 minute 20 left in the session. And Rio, if you want to take us through this one, I'll try and sort the microphone again.
Okay, so here we go. Tom Roberts out of the final corner, going nicely to the pit lane wall, as there's a lot of bumps on the main racing line, so they always like to hug that inside wall and then go late to the racing line, under braking for turn number 1, get flat out on the power, a very slight adjustment on the throttle, and then flat out now through turn 2 and 3. But he actually, Tom Roberts has invalidated his lap time, and that will be, if I'm not mistaken, his qualifying done, P14 at best for the Scuderia. Next up we will have Kian in the Visa Cash App Racing Bull. Flick the wheel right through turn 4, then flat through 5, flick it through 6 and 7. It's 500 of a second up. It's the fastest first sector we have seen of anyone right now. Through turn number 8 we go. The hairpin of turn 8. Now towards turn number 9. It's flat for a moment and then straight on the brakes into turn number 10, the hardest corner of the racetrack, taking that very nicely, using a lot of the outside apex to then go down the straight towards turn number 11. You want to then flick the wheel left, use as much of the inside apex as you can, and then it'll be flat out through turn 12 towards turn number 13, where you then again want to flick the wheel right. 0.2 of a second up. Kean is improving. He is going to be laying down the challenge for provisional pole position here. The two Mercedes currently sitting 1 and 2, but Kean is going to be charging for that pole position to try and cement a title challenge. At the end of the final corner, he invalidates his time. That provisional pole time is going to go. Thomas Lang, he is 3 tenths up. Up to the line, Thomas Lang goes P14 for the Kick Sauber driver. Who is next up? Is it Nelson Alves? It is Nelson Alves. A tenth of the bit up is the Scuderia Ferrari driver, as we're making our way up to the line with Nelson Alves crossing the line to go only P5 with a 25.7. Next up is Marcel Biega, who doesn't improve his time. Then next up it will be Danny Van Leuten in the Mercedes, who improve his advantage by 400. Next up is the Williams of Thomas to go P6, and then it will be his teammate. Oh, it won't be his teammate, my bad. It will be Louis Welch in the Alpine, crossing the line, goes up to P4 with a 25.7. Luca Rapace across the line, doesn't improve. Then it'll be Leon Stevens, barely improving, but it's enough to go ahead of Louis Welch in the Alpine. Next up will be Chris in the Red Bull, crosses the line, doesn't improve his time. Rishan Jacobs goes up to P7, then it'll be Sam Arling not improving his time, and then the final driver will be Tim Tornemo, who isn't improving his time. That is your grid for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Mercedes locking out the front row, and then it's Kean in 3rd, Liam Stevens 4th, Louis Welch 5th, Nelson Alves 6th, Rishan 7th, and Thomas in 8th. That is your top 8, and that is qualifying. That has come to a close.
Okay, right. So here's the deal. We've got 20 drivers. Poster's just fallen off my wall. It couldn't get any worse, could it? We've got 20 drivers lined up ahead of us, ready for the season opening Bahrain Grand Prix. If I keep cutting out, if I keep continuing to have these problems, Rio shall do this one alone. But if he doesn't, then you get both of us, which would be a great honour for you lot, I'm sure. We are loading in now to the lobby, and we are getting closer and closer to lights out. So get your race predictions in the chat, Rio. Looks like you've gone Luca. Well, I'll go for the other Mercedes then. Danny Van Ruyten, I will back to take victory here in this season opening Bahrain Grand Prix. And we are just a few minutes away from light out. Everybody in chat so far, being 2 people, have gone with Luca. So if you've got any different opinions, then come in. Can't hear Rio, apparently. Wonderful. Why not? Can you speak again? And again? Right. And again?
Hello.
Right, beautiful. Finally. 3rd time lucky. Anyway.
Oui.
Lights out is just a few moments away. And the Bahrain Grand Prix will kick off what is set to be the biggest season in ExA ever. Season 8. We have a crazy grid lineup. In terms of the drivers, you've gone for Luca this race. What about the championship? Never mind. Lights out.
3, 4, 5 lights time for the final season of F124. 5 lights on, 5 lights out, foot to the floor, and the 2 silver arrows are getting away as they would be in towards turn 1. We got Luca Rapata and Kian going wheel to wheel towards the first turn. 2 McLarens looking tasty on the inside, Randy outside. Kian trying to make the move on the 2 silver arrows, but 2 silver arrows going in formation. But Kian has got the jump on one of the Mercedes. Luca Rapata, the champion, is dueling away with Kian. Danny Royton is trying to help his team out. Randy outside of turn number 4 goes Kian. Luca Rapata will hold it on the inside, a 2x2. Louis Welch and Liam Stevens dueling away as well. Mercedes in formation as they were. Liam Stevens and Louis Welch are dueling now towards turn number 8 on the inside. Goes Liam Stevens along with Nelson Alves. Rishan Jacobs looking to get in the action as well. On the inside now, Louis Welch does keep the place and ahead of Liam Stevens. And as we make our way round turn 10 and down the straight, we've got a Red Bull and a Kick Sauber. I think that's Chris and Thomas Lang going wheel to wheel down the straight towards turn number 11. Is Chris going to give up this place? Yes, he is. Thomas Lang is ahead, and we've got Tom Roberts and Jacob Stripe going wheel to wheel through turn 11. Neither one to give each other. There's a bit of a switch at the back end for Jacob Stripe, but Jacob Stripe continuing to place to Tom Roberts, and that is the top 3 as you were. Down the main straight we go, and it's Luca Rapata who is behind his teammate, gaining in the slipstream of his teammate Luca Rapata. Is he just going to sit behind his teammate into the detection point of turn number 1? There is a lot of DRS games that will be ongoing in this whole race, as this is close to esports level, so there will be a lot of mind games going on. Making our way down towards turn number 4, we go with the 2 silver arrows. In the background there is that Top A and Sam Harding going wheel to wheel. The Williams on the inside of Tim Tornado as well now. And now Sam Harding, can he get the run for P17? He does keep behind the Williams driver. Including Mercedes, every single driver knows to tell. Sixon and Ben Marples going wheel to wheel. Sixon has got ahead of Ben Marples in the McLaren, and he's making places. The 2 Haas drivers scrapping away there through turn number 9 and turn 10. 2 Haas drivers still going wheel to wheel, are they? Rays and Sam Arling going wheel to wheel, and Sam Arling has dropped another place behind his teammate now. And to go through turn number 11, Luca Rapasa still sat behind his teammate, but you could probably think, where's the DRS down the main straight, that we could see a change of lead for the first time in the 29 laps of racing under lights in Bahrain.
Well, the top two working together well at the moment. Van Ruyten and Rapassa managing to hold off Kian Godendorp in third at the moment, although I think they might just be slotting in. We will see, though, moves further down the order. Tom Roberts getting past Marcel Biega, the McLaren driver, dropping to P14. You can see everybody heading to the right-hand side of the circuit as they're just trying to avoid the slipstream on everybody else. There is a switch for the lead. You are right, Luca Rapassa and Danny Van Ruyten switching. Louis Welch and Liam Stevens scrapping for position, and Liam Stevens around the outside, Louis on the inside. Nelson Alves trying to pick up the slipstream of Louis Welch as well. He might be making a switch to the inside line, getting a move on one. Could he get two as they head now through the first sector? No, he can't. He's going to sit behind in fifth place, but now Nelson Alves making that move, and it is very, very good. But Rishan Jacobs now sending one on Louis Welch, trying to make the Alpine's day a little bit worse as he could lose another position, but he's not going to. Now he's going to have another go into turn number 13. Can he get this position sealed? It's depending on who gets the better exit, and it looks as though it's going to be Rishan, although they are wheel to wheel, pretty much identical as they come off the exit, and that is Jacobs through. Welch still clinging onto an outside line, but there's contact between the two. They're clinging onto each other as they head now through. Through goes Thomas Laminen and Louis Welch staying on the track. Rishan Jacobs running off. Sixten Linhart trying to take the opportunity and switching to the inside line. Louis Welch as well, dropping a position. Sixten now trying to go once again on Rishan Jacobs. They're going to sit in formation. It's 8th, 9th and 10th for Linhart. Jacobs and now Ben Marples, who's looking interested in this one, but Louis Welch has built up a little bit of a buffer between himself and Laminen, which is not what he would have wanted to see. Switch for the lead of the race again. Switch for P7. It's going to be 3 wide as they head into turn 1. Rishan in the middle. Sixten on the outside. Rishan on the inside. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It's going to be Rishan Jacobs taking that position. Louis Welch was actually the one on the inside line. He takes P8, but there could be further switches, and this is the battle for P number 8, almost P number 7. Sixten so late on the brakes, and P7 is what he's going to take. Thomas Lang finding his way through, as well as Marples is ghosting. So contact there, I believe the McLaren was involved, and he's still inside Chris Brzezinski as they head through the hairpin, but in the end of that, both kick Saubers benefited.
3 wide moment between those. Rishan Jacobs, actually look at his front wing. He's missing he's missing this whole end plate on the left side of his front wing, as well as part of the actual main front wing as well. So Rishan Jacobs is going to have to come into the pits, and as you was commentating through that, Kian has jumped ahead of the reigning champion Luca Rapassa, and that Mercedes, the two Mercedes who were 1 and 2, have been split. There's now a V-carb sandwich in between. We're making our way out of turn number 13 towards 14 and number 15. Luca Rapassa all up in the gearbox of Kian. Kian dropping a bit further behind. Chris does get ahead of Ben Marples into turn number 14 now. Turn our Fuchsen on board with Luca Rapassa. Down the main straight we go. Can Luca Rapassa maybe poise a challenge into turn number 1 to make it a Mercedes 1-2 again? Let's say, are they going to go 3 wide, are they? Once again, 3 wide into turn 1. Danny Van Ruyten does keep the lead, but the top, second and third going wheel to wheel again. And Liam Stevens is maybe thinking of a challenge as well. Now we're making our way down the straight towards turn number 4. Kian defending the inside just a tad bit, not poising the challenge, keeping ahead of Luca Rapassa and staying behind Danny Van Ruyten as there's a change for P8. As Louis Welch and Sixten are dueling away, and I've been looking at the tyres as well, and it's everyone on the hard tyres except Thomas Lang, as Luca Rapassa and Kian going wheel to wheel once again. And is that Liam Stevens on the inside of Luca Rapassa? Yes, it is. Down the inside goes Liam Stevens on the Silver Arrow, the man who started on the front row, pushing his rival wide. And Liam Stevens is up in the third place. Luca Rapassa fading away down the order as Chris Brzezinski and Sixten are going wheel to wheel towards turn number 11 on the inside. Is Sixten going to hold this? No, he's not. Chris Brzezinski is ahead, and Thomas Lang, his mediums, will be starting to fade soon as the tyre wear in a 50% race, and just in Bahrain in general, tyre wear is very high.
Dylan coming in chat, absolutely right. Hard racing, messy, but so good at the same time. Absolutely agree, because this racecraft is something special. It's not like it's ridiculous sends from miles back. These are all cold, calculated moves. For example, the switch off to the right-hand side down the main straight is just where the grip is. There could be a move for Liam Stevens as he heads into turn number 1, just trying to hold it around the outside. He can't get the grip over Cian Godendorp. Godendorp just preferring to take the optimal racing line and holding on to that P2. It's a top 5, top 6 even battle, as that is Rishan Jacobs, the first driver to pick up a penalty. He has picked up 3 seconds for track limits, but the top 6 so tight together. The biggest gap between them is 5 tenths between Van Ruyten and Godendorp. Could be seeing Luca Rapassa go for a move, could be seeing Alves go for a move on Rapassa. It is side by side, a huge lunge from Alves as Stevens just missed his line, and that meant that Rapassa also just had the domino effect and almost dropped back. Alves just following through. Can he get this move done on the exit? Just trying to switch to the inside, but doesn't quite have enough. Ben Marples and Thomas Lang fighting away in the meantime. Lang on those mediums, dropping back down to P10. It was good teamwork between himself and Linhart to get him a gap in that P8, but it has not worked, and now they've been left to scrap it out. Linhart to the inside, Lang holding the outside line. Lang actually running off the circuit, and that gives the momentum to Linhart and to Marcel Biega. Biega on the inside of 1, could be on the inside of 2 as they head into the final corner. He's just going to manage his expectations and get past 1. And as they head down the main straight now, I believe that's Lang into the pits. Could he have damage?
It could be damage, but no, it's a retirement in the pit lane. Thomas Lang. I didn't actually see. Was there any damage on that Sauber car? We picked up a 10-second for speeding in the pit lane. So that is the end for Thomas Lang's race, but more attention will go back to the front of the field. Danny Van Ruyten leads from Cian, then Liam, then Luca, then Nelson, then Thomas. They are starting to pull away from the rest of the field. Rishan Jacobs, I did want to point out, he's still got that front wing damage. He's still going strong with that damage. He is probably going to fall out of the DRS window very, very soon, though. So his race is going to be torn apart, as he did have a 3-wide moment towards turn number 6 a couple of laps ago, and that put him, I believe, a McLaren and a Sauber towards the wall, if I am correct. But attention will now go back to the front of the field as Liam Stevens will be wanting to make a move on Cian to get up into second place. Being second is the best place you could be, because you will have the best advantage of the DRS to challenge the man in front of you with no DRS. Making our way down the straight towards turn number 14, the penultimate corner of this racetrack. They're all going to be nose to tail as we now stand on the power. A little bit of a correction by Liam Stevens on exit. Liam Stevens using battery as we're now making our way down the straight towards turn number 1. He's gaining in the slipstream, but decided to turn the battery off. And now is Liam Stevens thinking of a move down the inside? No, he's not. Luca Rapassa is thinking of a move on the inside, though. Down the inside goes the champion. Can he make up a place to get back onto the podium? No, he can't. Liam Stevens defends that very nicely on the exit of turn 2. As Sixton Linhart does pick up a 3-second penalty for track limits as well. He's our second driver to pick up a penalty. He's currently running P10 within the points, but that will hamper his race later on, as I think was that a wheel-to-wheel between the Red Bull of Ben Marples and Chris. It was, but now that battle has been resolved. Now Sixton is thinking of a move as wide went Ben Marples. Ben Marples just conceding that place towards turn number 6. Turn number 8, sorry, as Liam Stevens and Luca Rapassa dueling around turn number 10 once again. Is it the old switcheroo on the exit of turn 10 by Luca Rapassa as he now stand on the power towards turn 11. Luca Rapassa in an urgency to get back ahead and climb his way back up onto the podium and climb his way one place closer towards the lead of this Grand Prix. Making our way flat out through turn 12 and towards turn number 13. We can see the top 6 still eking out that gap towards the rest of the train from P7 all the way down to P15, and then Lucas, Jacob and Sam in their own little world with three cars in the train. Rishan Jacobs has pitted to change that front wing, I believe, onto a set of the medium compound tyre. He's running quite alone down in P19, but hopefully with that earlier undercut he can. And now we see Liam Stevens going to the inside, to the outside, and it's Kian on the inside, 3 wide for the moment. Luca Rapassa trying to get ahead, the top two going wheel to wheel through turn number 2 on the exit of 3. Kian's got alongside, now Danny will go defensive, Kian to the outside, wheel to wheel through turn number 3, round the outside. Goes Kian, and Luca Rapassa will be just watching that. Can Kian get the lead? No, he can't. Danny Van Leuten does get ahead and stay ahead of Kian in the V-carb, as Luca Rapassa has got ahead of Liam Stevens. Liam Stevens has chopped down, as on the inside now goes Luca Rapassa. Danny Van Leuten letting his teammate have a little bit of a sniff on him, and now Kian will be wanting to keep alongside Luca Rapassa, and we're going wheel to wheel through turn number 10. The two Mercedes working together very nicely, and it's now a Mercedes 1-2 once again. In Bahrain, the two Mercedes are working extremely well together.
Yes.
As obviously Nelson Alves, going on the inside, Nelson Alves is almost ahead of the V-carb, as Nelson Alves just has to concede that place and stay behind the V-carb.
But those top 6 still fighting away. Thomas Laminen actually sitting there pretty content with that P6 at the moment, with all the action going on ahead. We could be seeing Luca Rapassa defending aggressively, as that is going to be contact between Godendorp and Alves. Godendorp doesn't seem to be too badly affected. Do either of them have damage? We'll see as one of them comes into the pit at the end of this lap. Neither of them will. So they've both gotten away with it, but that brake board went flying, and we'll see as they go down the main stretch for the 10th time. Rapassa and Van Reuten standing side by side, staying ahead. Alves sending it to the inside of Godendorp. Godendorp sending it to the inside of Rapassa, but Rapassa managing to stave off his fellow countrymen. It's a Dutch 1-2-3 at the moment, and Rapassa and Van Reuten working together incredibly here. Godendorp sitting in P3 with Alves in P number 4. They're both trying to get ahead because they know that it is dangerous to leave the top 2 up there for too long. Fastest lap of the race for Rishan Jacobs, that is to be expected. Looking further back, actually, the top 6, they were in a field of their own. That has not lasted. Louis Welch has gained 1.2 seconds because of all that fighting on Thomas Laminen, and now it is first down to 15th, all within DRS range of each other, and they are ready to scrap again, especially the likes of Louis Welch, who's just been sitting there very, very patiently, waiting for an opportunity. A move for race empty as he started at the bottom of the grid. He's made his way up to P14. He's passed Tom Roberts into said P14, and there's fights as well for Tim Tornimo and for Toppe. Tim Tornimo hiding the inside line. Toppe trying to go for the switchback move. He's unable to, and he's just going to have to stay behind, but the exit could pertain itself to the Williams, and the final corner could as well, but he's going to stay behind. Switching back up to the battle for the lead, it's going to be a Mercedes 1-2, DRS available for Kian Godendorp in 3rd place. He could be looking for a move into turn 1. We've seen lots of people stay for the inside line as everyone else switches, but they're just going to sit behind. In the meantime, Thomas Laminen, though, sending it to the inside of Alves and Stevens, but his momentum was not enough, and he will stay in that P6 spot. But it's spicing up here, and I think the strategies could play into it in the next few laps. Those hards will last a very long time, but I mean, we'll be halfway through the race in just 3.5 laps time. So that is when they're going to be starting to think about the strategies, as that's a send from Nelson Alves. He's not thinking about strategy at the moment. All he's thinking about is getting those moves done, but Godendorp retaking that P3, and Liam Stevens trying to find his way through as well. But they sit line astern as they head to the 2nd DRS, 3rd DRS straight even, of this lap. And the top 2 trying to build a gap. They're now 5/10 ahead of the rest of the field. At the moment, it's advantage Mercedes.
For the minute, yes, it is advantage Mercedes, but that's all fine. When they come to the pit stops, because they are this close at the front of the field, say if Danny Van Reuten was to come in first, Kian, Nelson, Liam, well, a lot of people could just follow Danny in. Luca Rapassa could drop from 2nd, maybe even down to 8th. That's how powerful the undercut could be. So the Mercedes will have to figure that one out. Maybe the one comes in a bit earlier, than the scheduled pit window, or maybe one goes early, one goes long, like you saw in Australia in the Sim Racing Championship by Danny Bolesne and Istvan Buki. But now on the inside, Luca Rapassa is challenging his teammate for the race lead. The two Silver Arrows, like Rosberg and Hamilton in 14, dueling away in the desert of Sakir. And now we can see Ben Marples and Tim Tornemo going wheels to wheels. Tim Tornemo, I think, had to travel over a trip over the gravel and making our way towards turn number 4. There is damage on the end plate, and it's the old switcheroo by Ben Marples. Ben Marples, the one with damage, is challenging Tim Tornemo. Tim Tornemo does make the place as Nelson Alves has had a moment. He's off in ghosted, and he's lost his head, and he's going to just come tumbling down the order now. I wasn't focusing on that battle. Nelson Alves must have had a bit of a collision with Liam Stevens or someone like that. He's now down in 9th as the Scuderia Ferrari driver.
Small mistakes, big consequences, and Alves dropping from the battle for the lead all the way down to P9. He's got a hell of a lot of work to do, and of course all those drivers around there, similar pace to Alves, at least in this race so far, and so he sits P9 as well at the start of this lap. At this time last lap he would have been fighting for P3 at the very minimum, but I believe it was just a huge send into the hairpin that did not pay off for the Ferrari man, and he drops down to P9 now, and that invites drivers further back to get into the battle for the lead as Race Imtiaz gets past Ben Marples into the final corner. They are all pulling through. You can see lap 13. It's an incredible sight to see 15 cars going down here on lap 15 of this Grand Prix. Lucas Beisner is going to retire from the session. He becomes the second to back out of it as we're getting moves done. Not that you could see because of that camera angle, but Godendorp trying to fight away. Marple's 3-second time penalty now. Sending it to the inside is one Williams. The other is Tope, who gets past Biega. Laminen, though, hasn't got the grip on the exit to get past Kian Godendorp, so he will sit behind and wait for another day. Sixten Linhart and Budzinski going at it. Budzinski having a bit of a wobble, and that allows Alves to send it by. He's made contact with himself, and Sixten Linhart, they drop once again. Alves back to square one. Budzinski happy with that, but not for very much longer, because Alves, the latest send, is on the Red Bull. And this time it has worked for the Ferrari. He's gotten ahead, and he will tuck back in. P8 heads back the Ferrari's way, and Budzinski will have to sit behind in the end. So Alves, 2 sends, 1 has paid off, 1 cost Sixten Linhart a couple of positions, a little bit of time. We've still got 15 drivers within DRS, and we're almost up to the halfway point of this Bahrain Grand Prix.
Nelson Alves, that mistake that he had done in the race, he's just lost his composure a bit. He's losing his head. That was a bit of an outrageous send on the inside, as he did make contact with Sixten Linhart. Now as we're making our way down the main straight again, look how close Liam Stevens is to the back of Luca Rapassa. Luca Rapassa challenging his teammate for the lead of the race. Danny Royden trying to defend his teammate as Liam Stevens, maybe on the exit of turn 2 and 3, can get ahead. We see Tope and Louis Velch going wheel to wheel as they're locking tyres as well on the exit. Can Tope get ahead as well as Luca Rapassa having a bit of a wee moment? Tope will be looking to get ahead of the Alpine. The Alpine goes a bit of Louis Welch, goes a bit wide on the exit. Can Tope now get the move done on the Alpine? They're going wheel to wheel through turn 6 and 7 as Tope still has to sit behind the Alpine. Louis Welch is still defending. We could see drivers start to pull the trigger or the undercut very soon. As don't forget about Richard. I can't really remember the pit loss time as Tom Roberts and Rise Imtiaz going wheel to wheel, and there's contact between the two, and Sixten Linhart has been spun by Tom Roberts. It was a half spin, and Tom Roberts makes contact with the Sauber. Sixten Linhart in the wars with the Scuderia Ferraris as Rise Imtiaz goes on the inside of Sixten Linhart, and Linhart has to concede the place.
Linhart not having the best of days so far, but not really through his own mistakes. He just keeps finding incidents with people, and he drops down to P13. But what is his fault is the 3-second time penalty that he has. We will head now over halfway through this Grand Prix. We'll see if anybody does pull that trigger and head into the pits. It doesn't appear as though any of the leading pack will do, as now there is a gap of DRS between Imtiaz and Tim Tornemo. Ahead there's side-by-side action. The top two swap again, and Liam Stevens tries to thread the needle through, but he's going to sit behind, and he's going to try to wait for the next opportunity, but he could be under threat from Keane Godendorp. Indeed he is. Godendorp to the inside. Stevens trying to hang it around the outside. These two scrapping away. And Godendorp stealing the position away from the Aston Martin. The top four have looked so racy. And even Thomas Laminen, who's just sitting just behind, he hasn't quite had the overspeed to get into this battle. Ben Marple's another 3-second time penalty heading his way. Not being the McLaren's day, and he sits in P15. He will drop to P17 with those penalties. So really not going well for him. His teammate Marcel Biega, pretty quiet race in P9. But everyone in here in this sort of pack is hoping for a quiet race. The likes of Biega and Budzinski, we haven't seen them much. Tim Tornimo managing to hook his way through in this pack as well. If somebody makes a mistake further up, that's one position gained. If there's another mistake, that's another position gained. We've seen mistakes drawn out from Nelson Alves and I believe it was Thomas Lang as well earlier on in this race. We have seen mistakes. They are possible with these drivers, despite how high quality they are. And, with a mistake brings a huge consequence, as we saw for Nelson Alves going for a move for P3. He ended up P9 on the exit of that corner. We are seeing a move between Godendorp and Stevens. Stevens to the inside, side by side through turn 1. Godendorp hangs on to the position, and I think they're going to try and sit like this through to the pit stops. Just a quick shout out there for Tope, by the way, who's gained all the way up from P19, all the way up to P6. Yellow flags out for Sam Roberts, as he's had a little incident down the second straight on the circuit, but he's been able to get going ahead okay. All he's cost himself is time, and now he sits in P17, but the top 11 still within DRS range. Surely we'll be seeing the first couple of pit stops within this lap or the next.
Tom Roberts, he did basically Nikita Mazepin in 2021. If you look at his front wing, basically lost half of the front wing, so that just like Rishan Jacobs early in the race, that's probably Tom Roberts, Bahrain Grand Prix done and dusted. The reserve driver not getting the start to this season as he wanted, but the two Silver Arrows, they've got to decide of when who will pit. Will it be the champion in first, or will it be Danny Van Ruyten, the lead Mercedes of the field? What Van Ruyten has been leading for most of this race, and as Roddy has mentioned in the chat, most likely we will see at least half of the field into the pit. I did want to have a quick mention. Look at P6, 13 places gained for Top A. As the two Mercedes, they will both continue on, as do both Williams. Nelson Alves, everyone is continuing on. No one's opting to make a pit stop on this current lap, but I can only guess that Tom Roberts will be into the pit lane, most likely to retire from the session, as now he comes into the pits. Chris and Tim Tornado going wheel to wheel, as more importantly Liam Stevens and Kean have swapped around. I think Kean must have had a moment because he was ghosted on the run down towards turn number 4. And Kean will now have to concede the podium place, as the two Silver Arrows maybe building a slight little gap. As Thomas, a massive mistake there. You saw him completely cut across Top A, as Thomas Laminen has had a massive moment and has picked him up a 3-second penalty. Is that Nelson Alves? Or Nelson Alves and Louis Welch have also had moments as well. A lot. It's starting to get a bit chaotic here in Bahrain, as the pit stops are slowly approaching, as each driver will want to keep ahead of each other to make sure they can get the sufficient track position and the undercut to work as well.
Tope and Laminen coming together a couple of times, and that saw Laminen sent across the circuit, and then Nelson Alves losing the rear by himself. Now he's dropped down to P12, so it's really not been his day. There's a few mistakes been drawn out, and that's what I said, small mistakes, big consequences. He's now out of the DRS pack, and he's losing positions to Race Imtiaz, and now to Sixten Linhart. That was Tim Tornimo with a penalty. Nobody coming in from the leading pack once again, but we do see Race Imtiaz dive into the pit on lap 18 of this Grand Prix. They could be trying to stretch for softs at the end of this race. They don't last very long here in Bahrain, but those hards, they seem to be stretching them as much as they possibly can. I don't know if you saw the pit strategies earlier, but they suggested hards, softs and softs, or softs, hards and hards. Not sure whether a two-stop is viable here, but regardless, they are coming in for the softs. They reckon they can stretch them to the end, or they're going to switch to the two-stop. Imtiaz all the way down to Ben Marple's coming into the pit, and this is where the strategy plays into it. Lap 18 of 29, and we'll probably be seeing the first of the top few come into the pits. This is where Van Ruyten and Rapassa will have to split for the first time on the circuit unless they want to gamble with a double stack, but that would be unlikely to keep them together. That would be more likely even to separate the two. And now they have a very, very tough decision to make. Who pits first? Is it going to be Van Ruyten? Is it going to be Rapassa? That is up to them. But the teamwork that they've showed so far shows that they will most likely make the right decision for this race. If they think Van Ruyten is faster, they will choose him. If they think Rapassa is faster, they will choose him. It will all probably come to fruition as they come around the final corner. Who is going to be first into the pit lane? It appears as though it's going to be Van Ruyten who sends it last minute into the pit stop. There is as well Thomas Laminen, 2 of the top pack. I think that was Louis Welch as well. It was indeed coming into the pits, and we'll see where they come out in relation to everybody else behind them. But Rapassa, Stevens, Godendorp and Tope in the top pack. Marcel Biega, Tornimo and Chris Budzinski just sitting behind. They do come in for the softs. And we will see where they are in relation to the rest of the field as they come out. Imtiaz and Linhart going down the straight. Jacob 6 seconds off. He's been able to fend off Arling, Alves and Marples. And Tom Roberts 8 seconds off. But Van Ruyten and Laminen come out 1.7 seconds ahead of Linhart. And now they've got a lot of work to do to make the undercuts work.
So yeah, I was keeping an eye on six of them and Imtiaz to see where they would come out in correlation to Van Ruyten and Laminen. What Laminen is going to miss out on? He's going to miss out on DRS on this outlap on the soft tyres. It's going to be a bit of a stretch to make him all the way to the end. They will have an extremely high wear, but they should make it to the end as these guys know how to make tyres work, as these are some of the top tier drivers within this game. I can only imagine now Chris, Tim, Marcel Tope, Kian, Liam and Luca will all enter the pit lane on this lap. They will get the benefit of the extra lap fresher tyres, but it's just a question of how much time will they lose. In comes Luca, in comes Liam, Kian continues on. He is the sole driver left to make a pit stop, and during the pit windows, both Ferraris did have had to change their wings, so that is Scuderia Ferrari having a bit of a catastrophe. Around the final corner comes Van Ruyten. Now, how far ahead of Luca Rapassa will Van Ruyten be as to the end of the pit lane? Luca Rapassa comes now, and Van Ruyten is going to get ahead. Is Tope going to get ahead? Yes, he is. Or will he? In towards turn number 1, Luca Rapassa has kept ahead of them all. Luca Rapassa ahead of Laminen, but Laminen will now get the DRS on the rundown towards turn number 4. But it's going to be still a provisional Mercedes 1-2 as it stands at the moment. But Laminen has made up some places. He's up in the third. Williams running for provisional 3rd and 5th, but Laminen has got that 3-second penalty to his name, so that is going to completely ruin his race. Kian though is going to be losing many seconds. Well, not many seconds, many tenths of seconds, potentially a couple seconds, as he is the only man to still continue. 19 laps he's going to complete. This will be his 20th lap on the hard tyres as he makes his way down towards turn number 14. He surely is in this lap.
You'd think so for Kian Godendorp. You'd think that he's going to come in at the end of this lap. He will have fresher tyres, which on the softs will be crucial, and the sole man still running in this Grand Prix will come in. I'm expecting him to be in that mid-pack, so he's got a lot of work to do, but he will have the freshest tyres of them all, and we will see as he heads down the pit lane, as Van Ruyten heads around the final corner, who is going to be out in first place. Well, it's going to be Danny Van Ruyten. I think that is very, very obvious, but those softs being 1 lap younger than Rapassa's, and all of those who came in last lap being 2 laps younger than Van Ruyten and Laminen's, that will have a huge effect. He will come out in P8 ahead of Tim Tornimo and behind Sixten Linhart. So a lot of work to do, and he needs to get into the DRS. That is his first objective, but he could be overtaken here by either one or both of the TRT boys. Are they going to make him overtake, or are they going to sit behind Tim Tornimo? The leader of the two is going to sit behind Kian Godendorp, has 2 tenths to make up to Sixten Linhart ahead of him, so he can get back into that DRS. Now he's got those softs warm. Now he makes it back into the DRS. Now it is game on for the V-Carb to try to climb the field. He's got 7 positions to make up for that lead, but that lead, which is held by 1.3 seconds to the rest of the field, and it won't help as well that Kian has picked up a 3-second penalty for track limits. So that could be his race for the lead over Laminen, getting past Stevens with the DRS. 1.6 seconds between Van Ruyten and Laminen. This could be the Mercedes' race to lose. He worked together well with his teammates, but now I'm sure Rapassa will have told him to just be free. He can fly away. And this is Danny Van Ruyten's opportunity. Yellow flags out in sector number 1. I believe that is for Rishan Jacobs. Alves picks up a 3-second. Jacobs retires on the circuit, and it is a safety car out on lap 21 of 29. Does anybody come into the pits? We do have a couple. Sixton comes in. So does Tim Tornimo and Chris Budzinski. So a little split of the strategies in the mid-pack. But for the most part, those right at the top have stayed out. They don't want to sacrifice their track position. Those further down don't really have any track position to sacrifice, so they will be staying out. The top ones, those at the bottom, will be having a fresh set of those soft compound tyres, and they will be having that advantage. This race is going to be oh so close as we head now, with 7 laps to go under Bernd Mailander and the safety car.
So I was just watching with Rishan Jacobs. At turn 4, he had spun and he had driven himself into the wall to break half of his front wing. And I can only guess, because you rarely crash by accident on the entry of turn 8, I can only guess he is just fully driven into the wall. So I've clipped what I was able to get. Hopefully my Xbox does clip the whole thing for Rowley's interest. But I'm going to spice up the race now. Interestingly, Tom Roberts, 5 lap old mediums. Don't know why he's done that.
He could be trying to save his teammates' race, maybe. Nelson Alves sitting down there in P13. Obviously, points drop a little bit further here in EXA than anywhere else. So it could be that Tom Roberts is just going to try and hold up everybody behind Nelson Alves. He's going to let his teammate and maybe Budzinski through, and then hold up Marples, Arling, Strode and Welch, and anybody else that has the misfortune of falling behind them. We will have at least 1 lap under the safety car. Or 1 lap more as we wait for Louis Welch to catch up. I think we will, unless Welch catches up by the end of this straight, which is a possibility. If not, then we will have another lap of neutralisation, another lap under the safety car, and well, this could get very, very, very spicy. We will have another lap under Bernd Mailander behind the safety car, and well, it's a Mercedes 1-2 at the moment, but the lead Mercedes is Bernd Mailander's, so I don't think that's what they would have wanted. Tom Roberts coming into the pits, he has actually decided to make the switch in the end onto a set of softs. Everybody else just sitting on slightly older softs. So Roberts will have the fastest tyres at the end of the Grand Prix, but he will also be sitting last, although Louis Welch as well came in, so they will both be sitting there with the quickest tyres right at the rear of the field. When they catch up, it is likely that we will be getting back to green flag racing, and it is likely that Danny Van Ruyten will be trying to defend this lead. Thomas Laminen sitting in second has a 3-second penalty. Just an update, by the way, if you didn't know, on the penalty situation, Thomas Laminen has 3. Kian Godendorp, 3. Linhart, Tim Tornimo, Alves, 3. Marples, well, he's got the combination of Linhart, Tornimo and Alves as well. He's on 9 seconds worth of penalties. So not been the McLaren's best showing, and he'll be hoping that round 2 brings a little bit of a better result for him. But those penalties could have a huge effect, especially with the fact that we're getting going, or most likely to get going, with just 5 laps remaining.
We will be awaiting the green flag. A safety car should be in this lap. We will have racing again from lap 24 onwards. And we will then see, we'll get 6 laps of racing, 5 laps of DRS, 6 more laps to decide this winner. Van Ruyten has got a little bit of a buffer though, as the driver behind him has got that track limit penalty, so that even if he does finish behind Laminen on track, Van Ruyten will still pick up the win due to a track limit penalty, as we do, as race control gives us the indication for safety car in this lap. The drivers will be weaving as Van Ruyten will slow the pack down, and he will then make sure that he himself has optimal tyre temperature. 10-second full rise in Imtiaz for a severe collision with Luca Rapassa. Is there damage on that Haas car? I can't actually see, but I'm sure that Imtiaz will put that into the stewards to get that removed after the race. When will Van Ruyten decide to stand on the power? When will he go foot to the floor? When will it be pedal to the metal? When will he go flat out to the end of this race? Round turn number 14. Safety cars in the pit lane. We are ready for the green flag. The green flag awaits to restart this Grand Prix. And now it's foot to the floor. And we go racing again. And it's Van Ruyten who's going to lead. Stevens already on an attack. Using his battery. Liam Stevens wanting to poise a challenge. As second and third going wheel to wheel. The top two going wheel to wheel. Lamnan on the inside of Danny Van Ruyten. On the inside goes Tope as well. Tope, who started P19, is now challenging for the podium places. Thomas Laminen is into the lead. Van Ruyten's going to challenge on the inside. Will the top two make contact? Will bang between the two. Tope makes contact. Luca Rapassa capitalises on it. Luca Rapassa around the outside. Laminen into the lead of this race. Liam Stevens challenging now the one-time race leader and pole sitter Van Ruyten. And now we're running outside of turn number 8. Can Liam Stevens get the place? Can Rapassa now capitalise? What an exit by the Aston Martin driver. Liam Stevens down the inside of turn number 9 and turn 10. It'll turn into the left-hander as there's contact between the two. Liam Stevens is ahead now down the straight towards turn number 11. Danny Van Ruyten is now wanting to get in the mix as well. Tope and Luca Rapassa going wheel to wheel. Can Rapassa now get the move done on not only the Tope, can he make the move on his teammate? Luca Rapassa is up into 4th.
It's very, very good from both the Williams, but Tope losing another position. I was about to say that it was advantage Williams, but a little bit of contact between Tope and Chris Budzinski drops him down to P8, and it's the small margins. Nelson Alves, huge send into the final corner, could be picking up as high as P5, but I think the late braking has cost his exit, and so he will drop back behind Godendorp, might even drop back behind Budzinski, who loses the position to Tope, but it is Thomas Laminen leading this race. It is P2 to Liam Stevens, but for how much longer? A little bit longer as it appears. Danny Van Ruyten unable to hang it round the outside. Tope and Budzinski getting caught up over each other for P7. It's side by side now. Ben Marple's trying to send it through, and he's going to be able to squeeze in there. Chris Budzinski trying to get through as well. Tom Roberts 3 seconds. Tim Tornimo, by the way, on the last lap, putting pay to his points fight. 10 seconds worth of penalties heading the Swedes' way. It is absolute carnage as we head around lap 25 of this Bahrain Grand Prix. A switch for the lead of the race is going to be bowled here, and it's not going to be made, but Stevens backing out has opened the door for Danny Van Ruyten around the outside. The Mercedes trying to go through. He's going to get the DRS, he's going to get the slipstream off Laminen as well. It could be advantage Mercedes as late as around this corner. It is going to be Van Ruyten still alongside Stevens, but that allows Rapassa through. The incredible teamwork of the two Mercedes continues all the way through this Grand Prix, and this could be P2 back for Rapassa, and that could allow Danny Van Ruyten through as well. Rapassa boxed in. Stevens trying his best to hold both Mercedes back. Laminen trying his best to hold all 16 drivers back, but it's going to be to no avail. It is Liam Stevens in the lead of this race. It is P2 for Luca Rapassa. Thomas Laminen now trying to scrap back desperately. It's 3 wide as they head into turn number 1. Don't know who's 3 wide, but someone is. It's Stevens in the lead. It's 3 wide between Rapassa, Alves and Danny Van Ruyten. Alves appearing from nowhere into P3. He doesn't care about the penalty situation. He just cares about taking that race win on track. Around the outside, he looks of Rapassa. Down the inside, looks Van Ruyten. And this is carnage around sector 1. Rapassa defending desperately. Strode picking up a 3-second penalty down in P15. Godendorp and Tope fighting. Tope holding the inside line. Ben Marples and Louis Welch just behind them fighting as well. And the two Williams, who looked in such a good position, are now down in 7th and 5th. Not their day, and it could get even worse, as that is a driver trying to go past them. That is Louis Welch, but Godendorp still fighting away with them. This is absolute chaos. It's so hard to keep up with, but at the front, Liam Stevens has built a 7/10 gap.
Yeah, Nelson Alves decided, you know what, I'm gonna do what I'll try and do what Alonso did to Hamilton. He went from right to left, lunged it on the inside, made contact with the front left of Luca Rapassa. That put Luca Rapassa off the track on the exit of turn number 10. But Rapassa has still got that second place, but he is 7 tenths back. But the DRS will help him regain all that lost time as Nelson Alves is in hot lap. He's in the slipstream of Rapassa down towards turn number 1, and he's going to keep all sane, but on the inside Rapassa, the champion, is going to be duelling for top spot. Liam Stevens, who has been sitting round 4th and 3rd in this whole race, has found himself into the lead of this Grand Prix. Nelson Alves is maybe going to be thinking of a challenge on the outside of turn number 4, and now to make our way towards turn 6.
Godendorp dropped down the field. There's contact, I think, between himself and the Williams. Sorry to interrupt you, but that is one of the main contenders dropping down the field, and that is Godendorp out of the battle. But still a fight going on. I'll hand back to you.
I literally, that just caught my eye. But thank you for notifying us of that, as that's Chris and Kian now dueling away for P11 and 12 on the exit. Can Chris now get the place? And I think Tom and Nelson Alves is thinking of the move on Luca Rapassa around the outside. Does Nelson Alves try? Maybe she'll switcheroo out of turn number 11. Now flat through 12, and then towards turn number 13 we go. Whereas Nelson Alves is just going to sit behind as we're on the third to last lap of this race, about to enter the penultimate lap. Can Luca Rapassa get into the lead of the race? Will Nelson Alves challenge an attack? Can Danny Van Ruyten, the pole sitter, who had a very healthy lead before the safety car, get back to the lead of this race? Van Ruyten will be a bit angered by that safety car. As we now make our way down the main straight, Nelson Alves wants to get ahead of Rapassa. He is so desperate to do so. Now to the outside, he's gone past 1, past 2, but 3 wide into turn number 1. Liam Stevens is going to decide to back out of it, but Rapassa showing what he does best. Rapassa into the lead of this race, and now we're making our way down the straight towards turn number 4. Liam Stevens is going to get back at him, is he? No, he's not. Stevens will want to try and get ahead, but Van Ruyten on the inside, a bit of an oversteer. Dueling with Nelson Alves. They're going, those two going wheel to wheel towards turn number 6. Now round 7, Van Ruyten. That is an excellent move, as there's that top 8 off in the background. I believe it was someone off, as Nelson Alves is now ghosting through the cars. Mercedes 2nd and 3rd, they are in a great chance to go and retake the lead of this race. As we're making our way to round the straight towards turn number 11, the top 3 are now no penalties. This will be an all-out brawl, as now through turn 11 towards turn 12, flat through 12, Rapassa will be wanting to start his title defence off with a phenomenal all 26 or something points. As we're making our way towards turn number 14, Luca Rapassa and Van Ruyten will both want to poise and attack. Luca Rapassa is now hot on his tail round the final corner. We go with Luca Rapassa now. Rapassa down the main straight, using that energy to great effect. Rapassa to the outside, does take the lead of the race on the final lap of the race into turn number 1. Luca Rapassa is now up into the lead of the race. The champion is in the lead of the race. Can Van Ruyten now make a challenge towards turn 4? He's using the battery, is Van Ruyten, but he's just going to stay tucked up behind. Is Rapassa going to go a bit defensive in the turn number 4? No, he isn't. Down the inside goes Stevens. Can Stevens now get the lead? They are going nose to tail, tyre to tyre towards turn number 6. Around the outside, contact between the two. Off the track goes the champion, Rapassa. Rapassa gets a penalty, almost into the path of Van Ruyten. On the outside now, Luca Rapassa will try and keep the place. Is that going to open the door for Nelson Alves? Nelson Alves is going 3 wide into turn number 10. Down the inside goes Rapassa. Liam Stevens is now going to get back that place. Can Stevens now jump ahead of Rapassa and Alves down the straight towards turn number 11? Liam Stevens, Van Ruyten. Sorry, contact. Nelson Alves has had a moment as well. Yeah, you do it.
Van Ruyten. I actually muted myself as opposed to unmuted myself. But Danny Van Ruyten dropping down the field. Luca Rapassa will take this victory. You'd think he's going to try and get that penalty removed, but it is victory for our champion. Luca Rapassa will come across the line to take victory. Liam Stevens in P2. It's the 2 Williams coming in 3rd and 4th. Top 8 jumping up. Chris Bidzinski coming up with 4th. Lemon in P5. Louis Welch was last in the safety car in P6 with Sam Arling in P7. P8 going to the person who was also on that last row in 9th. What chaos that race was. And it's had a suitable finish. Danny Van Ruyten crashing right at the end. And that opened up the door for his teammate to take that victory. A crazy, crazy race. And in the end, it was topped by the man that we all expected at the start. I didn't say him, I said Danny Van Ruyten. But everybody else expected to take that victory. Luca Repassa. Absolute carnage. And, well, it went to the man who knows this league the best of all these drivers to take that victory. Obviously, Liam Stevens taking it with that penalty, but it is likely removable. Second place going to Liam Stevens. Third to Tope, then looking down further down the field. Obviously, this is subject to the stewards' report, so make sure to hang on to our Twitter and all of our feeds to make sure that you get the final race results. Join the Discord as well. We've got Repassa, Stevens, Tope. Then it is Budzinski, Laminen and Welch as it stands. Arling, Roberts, Godendorp, then Alves, Linhart and Strode. Marples, Biega, Imtiaz, Tornimo and then Van Ruyten being classified despite DNFing. Then it's Rishan Jacobs, Lucas Beisner and Thomas Lang to round out the field for what was a suitably chaotic Bahrain Grand Prix.
What a race. Liam Stevens takes the crown in Sakir. And I think next week we head over to South America. We head off to Sao Paulo, where we hope to see some more phenomenal racing action.
We should be seeing some insane racing action, not just in this first round, not just in the second as well, but throughout the rest of the season. So thank you so much to everybody who joined us tonight. Sorry for the technical issues. They will not return next week, and we will be back to a high quality. None of that, none of the cutting out. A high quality stream, high quality action on field, high quality commentary, of course, from both of us, and then just absolute carnage, we hope, and a high quality championship as well. If you enjoyed X1, we've got X2, X3 and X4, the drivers who want to advertise themselves to be in the highest division of this league possible. That race is on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. Our week is over, and it's over with a bang. Any final thoughts, Rio?
Not really, I just can't wait for the next race. If that's what the racing is going to be like throughout the season, I'm intrigued.
I know, next week feels so long away, but make sure to join us for that. Follow the Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube, join the Discord, and we will see you again next time.